Welcome back, everyone, to GGN. This is part 4 for today, for Friday, September 6, 2013. My website is ggnonline.net, and there will be 5 parts today. So I think I only got through like 6 articles in the third video, but you know, there's just so much news that I want to cover sometimes, and I don't get enough time to talk or elaborate. So. But moving on here, we basically covered this about this exercise being carried out by SWAT teams, the good guys, the sheriffs, against sovereigns and basically people who don't want to be encroached upon. And we talked about militarized police storming trains looking for a bag of paper while terrorizing passengers. And moving on here, Massachusetts cop threatens to smash camera into man's face. So, God.
Stop taking my photograph.
Next to the officer.
Stop taking my photograph.
Next to the officer.
Photograph.
Next to the officer. Be a gentleman.
Yeah, well, that goes both ways.
That's the problem right there.
That goes both ways.
Get that camera out of my face.
I'm on public property. I can do what I want.
That's not public property.
I am now.
You are so rude. Are you recording me?
When I'm in public, I'm a news person.
Hold on. Are you recording right now?
I am videotaping, which is in my constitutional rights.
It most certainly is not.
It certainly is. In public, I have the right to record video and ambient noise, and
This is not
law enforcement has no respect, no expectation of privacy when you're doing your job. You're in uniform. You just threatened to bash me in the face, officer. That is a crime. Just because you have a badge does not mean you can threaten people to bash them in the face.
I hope you're... What crime was that?
I'm going to continue to roll on this, just so you know. The Boston police tried to... This is case law, right here. You got to study up on your law.
Oh, I forgot that you're a policeman.
You don't have to be abusive to me and threaten to smash me in the face with my camera because I took a photo and asked a question.
That's not what
This is the United States of America last time I checked. And I'm in public and you just made a bunch of noise towards me and I don't appreciate it.
I walked away from you and you followed me, okay? That's what happened. Suppose we'll have to seize your camera as evidence, right?
You're not seizing my camera unless you have due cause.
So there you go, folks. I mean, they like to be hailed as heroes and public servants. So even if he did follow around with the camera, so freaking what? They got cameras everywhere now in the American people. Anyways, Long Beach cops caught on tape beating and tasing helpless suspects. So this gets better. Police in Long Beach, California have opened up an investigation about an incident involving a suspect who was tasered and brutally beaten by police. It says here, even he had successfully been subdued. The 46-year-old Mr. Lopez, his teeth was knocked out, his right arm was broken, his left lung collapsed, as both of his legs had gashed, requiring stitches. So they say that he refused to roll on his stomach, and it says it wasn't that he couldn't understand, he said he refused to go on his stomach, basically submit. And he was basically having, the biggest thing was that justified this beating was because he was having a dispute with another homeless guy, probably. I think that's what they said, in front of a liquor store. So, and I know those guys, it can get kind of rowdy, but this is a matter of basically the state and a third party interfering with 2 parties, basically private matter. A child shoots SWAT officer with his own gun at California Literacy Fair. A child who was thought to be no older than 8 years old shot a SWAT officer with his service weapon at a literacy fair in California last week while he was showing off tactical equipment to kids. Interesting. So, Helms said the SWAT officer was in a SWAT vehicle demonstrating equipment to children, showing it off, basically glorifying the police state. A militarized police state, when a boy between 6 to 8 walked up behind him and fired his holstered Glock 40 caliber service weapon into his leg. So karma's a bitch, that's what I say. EU plans to fit all cars with speed limiters. All cars can be fitted with devices that stop them going over 70 miles per hour because you are a child, well, and you're not responsible enough. under the new EU road safety measures, which aim to cut deaths from road incidences by a third. So I think there's research done on the Autobahn when people were able, when it was less congested in that, and they found that there was less accidents in that. So, but I love this right here. Hackers find weaknesses in car computer systems as cars become more like PCs on wheels. What's to stop a hacker or your local law enforcement pig from taking over yours? Well, we've already seen that demonstrated on PSA videos that cops can take over your vehicles. So, and they're going to tell you how fast you can go. So just like your computers, they're personal, right? A new TSA pre-check program is selling us back our rights for $80 a year. The TSA is expanding its pre-check speedier screening program to 60 more airports in addition to 40 where it was already available. The new airport should have the expedited checkpoint lanes where the participants are allowed to keep on their belts and shoes and leave their laptops in their bags. So, wow, they're so privileged, aren't they? It enables more slaves across the country to experience expedited screening. So, you know, I like this headline that they put here on Blacklisted, you know, selling us back our rights for $80 a year. But when you go to the mainstream media, how do they word it? Oh, actually, they're being used as a PR a whore to sell it. They're selling it as something that's good, a good alternative. TSA's quicker pre-check coming to 60 more airports to you. Police DUI checkpoint screens 1,000 cars makes one DUI arrest. So after 1,050 cars to pass through Friday night's checkpoint, says here with just one arrest and one citation, police say residents are getting the message. Getting the message of what? Well, that well, they have authority over you. Well, it's not really legitimate, but they at least try to act like it is. And people going through these checkpoints and handing over their licenses and their insurance and being harassed by these revenue collectors is justifying it and legitimizing it. So that's the message. Labor Day, Tennessee DUI checkpoints to require blood tests. So in Tennessee, DUI checkpoints will be using mandatory blood draws to determine if you're drunk. So, you know, it's just pretty interesting because Americans, like I said, they actually live to work. They are proud to be good wage slaves, salary slaves for you know, rent out of their times and stuff to corporations and to banks and that. And they don't get much vacation time. Peasants had a better vacation time than the current workforce. And so when they do go out to celebrate Labor Day, they're going to be harassed by the state, and that's just to let them know who's boss. You know, so this is what this is about. Male drinkers get lectured by urinal cakes. Colorado plants them in bar bathrooms to cut down on drunken driving. So again, besides offloading liability because they're your limited liability slaves, property of the state, that's the way they see you, and they have to look out for you. They have to dump these things in urinals. That's just to let you know when you're out on your own time, right? That they're just telling you what to do. No matter where you go, you're going to see them telling you what to do. That's, of course, the state encroaching. You know, I say the state, it really is just kind of a corporate hybrid, kind of a private-public hybrid of corporations running the state as kind of as a mechanism for controlling the masses. But it's just a way for them to encroach on your personal life and to, like I said, legitimize their authority over you. Because you got to think about it, if their authority was legitimate, it should be questionable at all times. But you can't really question their authority, right? That makes you a dissident. That makes you anti-government terrorist. So the only way the only thing that the government can do, and the only way they can do it, is to try to use force to legitimize their authority, and that's what they do. The threat of force. DUI checkpoints, you know, urinal cakes, telling you what to do. Amazon hiring 100 IT personnel for positions requiring top secret security clearances. Amazon, like I said before, is probably just run by the military. The government itself has, it's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. This hybrid has more than 100 job openings for people who can get a top secret clearance, which includes a U.S. government administered polygraph examinations. These software developers, operation managers, and cloud support engineers, among others. Amazon is challenging established IT vendors for U.S. government intelligence work, illustrated by an escalating fight to build a private cloud for the CIA. PayPal freezes Mailpile's account and access to funds. So they said that the move was just too ridiculous even for PayPal. So they unfroze the account for now. But yeah, they actually froze these guys' account, and they were, I guess they were trying to run a campaign that would provide, encrypted emails, basically email accounts that were actually private. And they froze their accounts, and it said that that PayPal actually donated $1,000. So it says here that it makes them only $24 shy of making them an underfunded spook. So, how government spooks are making bank in Silicon Valley. So as much as the techno-libertarians would like to believe they discovered the first semiconductors buried in California wilderness, the relationship between big government and the nation's tech capital is long, complicated, and well documented. Yeah, intelligence agencies launching their own personal venture capital firms that invest in tech startups and recruit top tech talent. Say that real fast. A big shocker, Israel, one of the top spying threats facing U.S. intelligence service. So a lot of this intelligence information that's being kept on Americans that goes through this stuff is actually going through Israeli companies. The U.S. will probably punish Israel by giving it another $115 billion in contracts. The Obama regime views Israel as one of the top spying threats facing its intelligence services, leaked documents reveal. It's funny, they're up there with China, Russia, and Iran, Pakistan, and Cuba. Latest version of America's Army ready for download. So it's the latest fast-paced battlefield or battle drill exercise for small engagements. So basically, these are video games that are designed for training soldiers, basically simulation. But it does make sense because you're talking about a lot of the games, especially, I mean, I would imagine, again, public-private hybrid, that modern warfare, Call of Duty is all just basically part of the same thing for recruiting young people into the military. Then USDA, rural population needed not for farming but for cannon fodder. So the USDA, or U.S. Secretary of the Agriculture, is being challenged by other leaders who change this figure to get more people in rural area America to encourage farming and help more farmers get started. To say what could be the driving reason to have more farmers. He says, are you ready? Here's the answer. Although rural America has only 16% of the population, it gives 40% of the personnel to the military. I mean, when it's all said and done, at the end of the day, but the bottom line, you know, all the cliches, the whole reason for increasing farms is to provide cannon fodder for American imperial might. He said rural kids grow up with the sense of wanting to give something back, and if we lose that value system, we'll lose our military might. School is a prison. Says that parents send their children to school with the best of intentions, that they might become productive and happy adults. That's why I love that quote by John Lennon where he was asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? And he was like, I want to be happy. You know, that's because that's such a hard thing to attain, to actually be genuinely happy. So it says here, school is a place where children are compelled to be and where their freedom is greatly restricted, far more restricted than most adults would tolerate in their workplaces. And in recent decades, they've been compelling our children to spend even more time in this kind of setting, and there's strong evidence that this is causing serious psychological damage to many of them. So, of course, they got to medicate them, give them more pills. And, of course, like I said, they'll have complexes where the parents go to get visitation rights to the children on the weekends. It says compulsory schooling has been a fixture of our culture now for several generations. Of course, like I said before, it was built off the Prussian model system, compulsory and free education to make obedient workers. That's what it was all about. The blueprint was the Protestant Reformation, where schools are created to teach children to read the Bible, to believe the Scripture without questioning it, to obey authority figures without questioning them. That's what the Founding Fathers were quite clear about in their writings. So there is no reform. It's the same top-down teach and test method, which is motivated by rewards and punishments rather than by curiosity or by any real felt desire to know. School officials are considering putting assault rifles inside their schools. The German police removed 40 children during raid on Christian sect accused of abuse. So of course all the commenters, whether they abused them or not, they denied it. It's they have to go to the state. They have to get licenses to do what they want to do. And all these commenters bashed him, of course, The funny thing is that they went through their own traumatizing abuse in the education system here in America. Russia, children are getting gay love books from the West. That it's public corruption of the younger generation. And pro-traditional marriage group says, how many generations of children will be sacrificed to the gay gods? Thank you.